Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider, custom Marvel Legends action figure. Let's go! Hello and welcome once again to Jacob's Toys. Please do like, share, subscribe and all of those things. All support to the channel is very much appreciated. As you can probably tell, we are talking about Ghost Rider, more specifically Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. Now, say what you want about those films, I really enjoyed them, and I've been dying for an updated version of the action figure of the Nick Cage's Ghost Rider for quite some time. Now, back in, I think it was 2007, we got this awkward thing, but enough said about that, as it was awful looking. But for its time, it was okay. But anyway, when they announced the recent Chamber figure, I got quite excited. I thought that the body looked very much like it could be the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider, and so I got in touch with my good friend RDJ Custom Creations about creating some custom Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider heads. And I think the combination is pretty decent. So let's have a look. These are the two heads that RDJ Custom Creations printed and painted for me. We've got a powered down Nick Cage head and we've got a half and half Nick Cage head. Now the reason I wanted a half and half and not a full Ghost Rider was because I wanted it to represent the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. And here is the Chamber figure. Now this is part of the recent X-Men wave. There's a whole bunch of really cool figures in there, and I do take a look at the whole wave as part of my 5-minute figure review sort of series, so I will be looking at those individually. But for the sake of the video, I'm not going to review this one or anything like that. I'm just going to rip it open and just show you what's in the box, because I think the actual base of this figure is very cool indeed. Now you've got the Build-A-Figure piece there as well as the actual figure, so let's just get rid of all this packaging because I don't need the Build-A-Figure piece and I don't need the head, I just need that body. Included with the Build-A-Figure piece is 2 additional hands. Now these of course are regular looking hands, so you can't really use them for Ghost Rider, but yeah, anyway, I'm really excited about how this looks. Now, the promotional pictures and the promotional images that they released look like this head popped off, and it wasn't until I actually got my hands on one and until I started seeing people review them that I realised that it does indeed pop off and leave a completely perfectly usable body underneath. Now, this is a new sculpt for the body, the torso and the jacket. The legs are very much the kind of suited male legs that you've had so many times before in different figures. Now I always twist the feet right around, do kind of 180 degrees and then bend them back, and I find that's the easiest way to not snap the pegs, and then you can kind of get them into the proper position so that you can stand up. But I always found these suit legs to be quite difficult to originally get standard, so you've got to have a standard to get stood, so you have got to have a little bit of a play around with it. So, but legs and shoes aside, the top half of this body is pretty much a new sculpt. The arms look very much like the suited arms that we've had previously, but they're pinless, which is a really nice touch, making them quite unique to this jacket. Now, the jacket in itself is a proper biker jacket. The top underneath is just kind of a bandage wrapped top, very much kind of part of Chamber, but it does work for the sake of Ghost Rider. Now, here he is with these heads on. Now I think this looks really cool. It looks like a much better version of Nicolas Cage than that one that I showed you at the beginning, but you kind of would expect that because that was, 2007, that was a long time ago now. I don't think I'll use the powered down head for much more than kind of action figure photography, but it is a nice option to have. I don't just need a action figure of Nicolas Cage on my shelf, although that would be pretty cool because it's Nick Cage at the end of the day. I could do with dremeling it out a little bit more because it does sit a little bit higher, but that was not to be known until we actually had this figure in hand. But here's the piece de la resistance, the bit that I was really excited about, and that's the half and half. Now I've got to say, RDJ Custom Creations, look them up on Facebook, look them up on Instagram. They are really good UK based custom action figure accessories, heads, etc, etc. And he is a phenomenal painter, as you can see from these heads. Now I've got to add a chain. I've got a couple of jewellery chains here, and I've got a Lego chain. Now a Lego chain is kind of my go-to for most of my Ghost Riders. It wasn't me that came up with that idea originally. I can't actually remember where I saw it, but it was somebody else's idea to use Lego chains, and they are a really good alternative for the Ghost Rider chains, a more flexible version. So I've tried a couple of jewellery chains. Let's have a look at the Lego chain. I think it might be a little bit big. Now in the film his chain was quite big anyway, but I think it looks just a little bit too big and pulls a bit of focus away from that jacket, so I think I'll probably go for one of the jewellery chains. But success it does what I was hoping it would do, and these heads look fantastic on this body. Now, because it's a new sculpted torso and arms and jacket, etc., the nice thing is this does stand out as a unique piece. It's not going to blend in too closely to Chamber. They're not going to be on the same shelf or anything like that, so I'm quite happy with it. Now, as I said, I'm a massive fan of the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider films. They are cheesy. They're not kind of up to the standard of some of the MCU stuff we get nowadays, but as far as Ghost Rider films go, they were fun, you know, they were enjoyable, and quirky as he is, I do love Nick Cage, so yeah, I was very happy. So I'm really happy to add this to my shelf. Now, I've been doing a handful of these. I've done like Blade, I've done some of the X-Men from the X-Men films, a couple of Wolverine and stuff, so I really like having these kind of alternate, not MCU but Marvel Studios characters, and Nicolas Cage is just the latest one in the long line of those. Now, this is the hand that came with the recent retro carded Ghost Rider, and I think because I've gone half and half, it's quite nice. I'll use it for photography and stuff, but for display purposes I'll use the flesh hand, just because this hand obviously belongs on my Ghost Rider, but it does work quite well because that left side of his head is obviously transformed, so to have a transformed hand as well is quite a nice touch. It does look a little bit big in perspective, but it kind of works. So I'm going to put this fire effect piece over the arm just to kind of help with the size and the perspective of it there, but also I've got it reaching out, so I probably wouldn't have it reaching out, probably have it down by his side or something like this. But all in all, I am over the moon with how this has turned out. It's turned out exactly how I hoped it would. This does look like a Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. There's no kind of two ways about it. It's definitely done the job. Do go and check out RDJ Custom Creations on Instagram and Facebook. You can pick these heads up as well as a whole range of other heads and accessories and footwear and all sorts of pieces. I mean, the guy's an absolute artist, really, really talented, and I'm really, really psyched to be able to add this version of Ghost Rider, this movie version of Ghost Rider, to my collection, especially as we've not got any signs of Ghost Rider appearing on our screens anytime soon, although there are whispers of him turning up in the MCU soon. Right now, Nicolas Cage is the one and only Ghost Rider that we've had in film version. So I think I'm going to go for this chain. I'm going to go for this silver jewellery chain. Now you can get these off of Amazon, from craft shops, from jewellery shops. They're really, really cheap to buy, and they are a good accessory for characters that require a chain because they've got that flexibility and that movement that a real chain would have. Now I'm going to have to kind of wrap it around and fix it and stuff. Right now it's just kind of hanging off of him. But there you go. Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider from those movies. Absolutely brilliant. So here we go. Here's a couple of photographs that I took. Nothing special. I just wanted to put him in front of the camera. I've used one of the many bikes that I've got in my collection just for perspective. This one is a little bit smaller than I'd like, but it kind of works in the distance like that. I'm over the moon. Thanks very much for watching. I hope this has been a fun video. Pick up a chamber figure if you want this Nicolas Cage body, and do check out RDJ Custom Creations if you want these heads. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe and all of those things, and I'll see you soon.